Yeah, this OG Spook up here with Donnie Houston at his podcast. Peace.
Subscribe to the Donnie Houston podcast, man. Yeah, man, it's going down this Donnie Houston podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We got a special guest, you know what I'm saying? You know, this show is all about the culture, the foundation, the history, you know what I'm saying? All the things and the people and the important places and things and events that happened that built this city, you know what I'm saying, as we know it. And today's guest, man, solidifies that, man, you know what I'm saying? As an original OG coming out of Fifth Ward, you know what I'm saying? As someone who was able to see the whole thing of this whole idea of rap a lot coming together, you know what I'm saying, from day one, man. I'm honored to have him here, man. OG Spook, what's going on?
And it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And just to for you to say what you're saying, you know, it make me feel good just to know that I'm a part of whatever have happened in our culture in hip hop in Houston. Because we done came a long way if you look back at what's going on in Houston as a culture.
Yeah. I mean, you was there from day one.
Yeah. I remember the day when Jay was talking. He said, "Man, I'm gonna start a record label."
This y'all just kicking it one day, and this when he come to the table with.
Yeah, and we all just sitting around, and this was his idea and his brainchild. But then I knew that me personally, I ain't know nothing about the music industry. And that was one of my things in my head. I was like, man, that's something we ain't never. He said, man, it's a lot of things we ain't never done before. And since it was his vision, then it was my duty to, you know, help provide whatever he needed to help get that done, because all of us come from the streets, and my thing was I always loved the streets. So my part of I took on the street promotion part of the label, even though when they was in the studio and in offices and I was still in the streets, when I got my hands on posters, flats, cassettes, CDs, flyers. At the time I had a lounge and a car wash. So I promoted the music through my lounge and through my car wash. If people get their car wash, I put a cassette in their cassette deck and leave posters, flats, and stuff in their car. And I was doing stuff, and really, man, didn't realize
you was doing promotion.
Yeah. I ain't realize I was doing promotion. But then once I started seeing everybody in the hood playing rap a lot music, I knew then. I said, man, we doing something. And at the time, we wasn't even fooling with radio. But then, you know, if it was a cafe, if I had something in my car, I just really focused on cafes and, you know, no-name DJs. And I wasn't even focusing on name DJs like today. They'll have to ask for the music before they got it.
Yeah, I was focused on the people.
That's how we sold music. We sold music more to the streets than anything else. Our music was sold to the streets, and, you know, we made people come aboard. You know, they came aboard because they was hearing it and not knowing where to get it from, until Jay opened up an office and started doing mail outs. You know, getting, you know, hot club wax, then you're getting the record pools and the retailers and, you know, DJ pools that's on different lists and doing mail outs. So, you know, that's how that came about once they started getting that. And our main focus, really, another thing was college radio. You know, back then, college radio, they didn't want records that the mainstream was playing. If mainstream was playing it, they ain't want it, because they like the breaking records themselves. So, you know, that was our focus, college radio in the streets and clubs and cafes and car washes and liquor stores, barbershops, beauty shops. Anywhere our people hung out at, that was our focus. You know, we ain't really focused on radio, because if you look at radio today, they ain't never show rap a lot no love.
Yeah. Well, the 90s a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, it kind of been,
But we done had some big records.
Yeah.
You know, and I know some hit records that came through there that's supposed to been some national records, and, you know, they'll get the records, and for some reason, we'll get more. We'll still go gold and platinum in the streets.
Man, tell me this, because when he came to y'all, like you say, like y'all didn't know nothing about music, like for the most part, everybody was kind of just street guys and just doing their thing. Did you see this as a way of like, okay, I can do something legit, change my life, whatever? Or you was just kind of like, this my boy, he want to do this, we gonna do it?
Oh yeah, because man, you got to always have an exit plan. You can't stay in the streets forever, and we already knew that. And at the time, like I say, I was probably 22 years old and had a cafe and a car wash.
And I was getting that money.
Yeah, at the time.
Yeah.
So I was a youngster, but then I was being groomed by older cats. They'll tell you like today, older cats. I don't think they telling youngsters what we was being told.
So they telling y'all, hey, you doing this, but you can't do this for too long.
Yeah,
you got to come up with another plan. You got to start thinking.
Yeah, and so how I really started looking at his vision is when Too Much Trouble, the Baby Ghetto Boys, used to be in there rehearsing out in my spot all the time, and I was looking at them like, man, these little dudes in my way. Every time I come in here, they rapping. They got all the equipment set up, and they rapping. So I was like, took them to Jay, man, there go a group. And I'm saying to myself, they're in my way, not seeing what he see at the time. But then as you sit back and then you start seeing that the fruit start to be bared, then you be like, man, I need to change this thing up, because like I say, you can't stay in the streets forever. So that's when it started going to the office.
So what year is this when you bring Too Much Trouble to him?
Man, it had to be about 89.
Oh, before Mind Playing Tricks and all that.
Oh yeah, way before Mind Playing Tricks. Cause when I had this place, this had to be 87, 88, 89. I know it wasn't 90. So this had to be about 88, 89 when I introduced Too Much Trouble to Jay, and I never seen what he was gonna do with them because they were too much trouble. But he started calling them the Baby Ghetto Boys because they had a white midget boy knowing in their group. So he started calling them the Baby Ghetto Boys. So I kind of stayed on the down low on the management side with them. And so
is this you kind of coming into the fold now at this point?
Okay, that's when I started kind of seeing the vision, because like I say, at first, when ain't no money coming in, you got to keep your money coming in. And people think that money start just rolling in when it did, man. It took us at Rap-A-Lot, man, at least before we start seeing some real money at 5, 6, 7 years into the game. And it wasn't no easy task. Wasn't no overnight. There wasn't no overnight. I'm talking about, man, you done slept in a lot of rundown hotels and motels and rode across this country in 18 passenger vans, and just to get to where you're trying to get, and they don't see the hard work. And I think artists today, they don't see that, but then you can kind of handicap artists when you're doing all the work for them. But it was just something about Rap-A-Lot artists. They was willing to work. They were willing to get in them vans and, go on 21 city promotional tours, doing radio, college radio, retail, and they was willing to put in the work. And a lot of artists today, they don't want to do nothing for free. And a lot of
not
that
understanding
work,
you got to
man, it was a lot of free work went into that.
Who were the core guys when Jay said, all right, I want to start this label Rap-A-Lot? Who was all there with y'all at that time?
Me, Steve, Dewey, Ant, which is Price Bay, NC, who rest in peace.
That's his right hand man.
Yeah, NC rest in peace. I think Les came on, and I think Big Chief came on. But us main guys who kind of really ran together, me, Jay, Chief, Dewey, Big Steve, and NC. And we was kind of the main one, but I came in Me and Jay I came in because all them grew up together on the other side of the track.
Okay, I was going to ask you to tell me about Fifth Ward and break that whole thing
Yeah,
down
they
for me.
come off. They grew up. I'm the only one on the other side of the track, but everybody else was on the other side of the track. But then that was one thing about Fifth Ward at the time. That's how the circle came about. Everybody got along with everybody, and we just sprung everybody back in together as a unit.
Okay, wait. You just said something. The circle, because we know, Fifth Ward circle.
Yeah.
That's where that came from?
Yeah,
right
that's where they come from. That's where they come from, because we looked at it like unending love. That's what the circle mean, unending love. But then, you let the feds and the police department, they done turned this into a gang. When Fifth Ward Circle is a community. When you put all the Fifth Ward communities together, all the projects, all the streets, all of everything, and it was the circle. When you put something together, if Fifth Ward doing something, you might, man, if we get together and we move out, you got 100 dudes easy. Anywhere we went, any show we did, if you look at the stage, man, you're going to have 100 dudes on the stage and all of them out the hood. So the following, that's the following. That's how you know you have something. That's how I used to go around the country, and I used to look for dudes that were just like me. Them the people I hired to be on the street team. I ain't hired no square to be on my street team. Then I come to your city, you way out in the suburbs promoting record music.
We supposed to be in the streets, nigga.
Yeah, so when I come and I'm like, man, take me around, show me what you've been doing. And the man take me to the suburbs.
You ain't the man for the job. Yeah.
No, he getting fired. The man gonna get fired, man. The man is promoting our music, and so whenever I go to a city, I'm gonna find a railroad track. I'm gonna get close to downtown, find a railroad track. People don't know. They be like, man, why would you say that? I say, man, we close to railroad tracks in downtown, in any city you go to.
I never thought about this.
Oh yeah, that's how I put that together. I get to a city. And I find a downtown skyline and go close to round downtown and find a railroad track. And once you cross over some railroad tracks and go to riding, you're going to start seeing our people.
And that worked out every
every city. Man, if you research every city, if you get close to downtown and some railroad tracks, you're going to find our people.
Who put you on this game though, bro? This is. I mean, it's just crazy. It's a small thing, but it's like, who would even think that? Like, who put you on that line of thinking?
My grandfather. Cause one thing about we live close to railroad tracks. Man, the one thing about our people, we live close to railroad tracks, and he was like,
no, you saying it, and I'm thinking about all the hoods and the railroad tracks and the yeah.
So that's what I used to do. If I get to a city, I ain't gotta call nobody. And if you working for me and I already got a list of retailers, once I get to close to downtown and find some railroad tracks, I'm going to find the nearest store, retailer, and I'm going to go in there and see if there's some displays up in there. If I would display way in the back and here it is, you got all these people displayed in the front, I'm going to see how I can get my display up in the front. So when you walk in the door, you're going to see some rap-a-lot stuff. So that was the key, man. And like them big silver boxes that was in the middle of the street, I used to just fill them up in the middle of the night. You might wake up and you'll see with them big stickers, you're going to see that everywhere. You're going to see that stuff everywhere. And that was, the street promotions aspect of it and visuals.
So you come to Rap-A-Lot. You had brought too much trouble to Jay. What's the first kind of group or whatever situation that you get your hands on with the company where you like, okay, now we moving and I'm doing this. This what I'm doing?
Well, I had always like to have jazz management, and it was for us on the jazz management. It was me, Dewey, Steve, and Chief. So any artist that was on jazz management, we managed those artists, and it was like. At the time,
was every artist going through jazz management?
The majority of them. The majority of the artists went through jazz management because they didn't have a management company. Except I think Big Mike. Big Mike was probably one of the only artists that probably didn't come through jazz. But the majority of the artists, they came through jazz management. So, you know, I got a chance to be trained by Chief. Cause Chief was a hell of a manager.
Can you talk about Chief a little bit? Because I always hear how Chief, like everybody's like, nah, Chief was that dude, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh, Chief taught me everything. When it came to management, gonna teach you everything. That's one thing about us. Wasn't nothing left out.
Nobody hiding the game. Yeah.
Oh no, no. And Chief,
what's the things he's telling you, like, this is what makes you a manager? Like, what's some of those?
Make sure everybody make it home safe. That was our key, man. Make sure everybody made it home safe and get that money. Don't go on that stage unless you got the other half of that money.
Back in, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one thing. Man, do not go on that stage.
I heard about Chief in the back ends. Yeah.
You ain't getting nothing, man. Don't let them people go on that stage unless you got. And you're gonna go to them dressing room. Make sure everything, that whole rider was ever on that rider. All the airline tickets, the room where you get to a hotel, somebody signed to go to that counter and get everybody keys and make a room key list. And everybody in management got a list of where everybody room at, where everybody at. So, you know, it was a lot of responsibility. It wasn't no just you on the road having a good time, not management. You know, the artists can enjoy themselves, but man, you got to make sure they all right and make sure they make it back home. That was our main thing, is security and making sure the artist is well taken care of and they make it back home. So,
is there any time you remember, like, man, I had to go and make sure that this money was right over here and this and that? Like, is there any times that stick out from that?
Oh man, you gonna run into them kind of promoters. Cause you losing, I don't mean I gotta lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got them kind of promoters. Well, man, we ain't got but 400 people, and I supposed to have. Hey, man, you need to come up with the rest of that money. And people ain't going on that stage till you get the rest of that money. But then me personally, like if it was me and the Fifth Ward Boy, Devin the Dude, some of the smaller acts, if I'm on the road with them and I know this is a good promoter, and I talk with them, I'm like, man, well, if you ain't got all the money, how many other shows you think you got that you can put them on and we'll pick up the money on the other end? And I ask them, do they want to do it first before, if they don't have all the money, I'm going to confide in them to see if they want to still do the show and get the part of the money that they do have, and we get some more money in the future from the same promoter. Cause you got some promoters, man, they treat you good. And when they lose, I don't want to be like, man, go on, you ain't got my money, man. So I used to always try to treat people how I wanted to be treated, and that way in the future, you never know where they're gonna be in the next 5 years. You don't know what people gonna be. Cause
you put you on an even bigger show, and yeah.
So that's how I used to do that sometime when, you know, they don't have all. But then I know you just trying to bull me. Oh no.
Yeah.
Man, let's get in the van.
Yeah.
You know, we had then they gonna come up with the money. Well, you had it all the time, cause that's part of the contract. Regardless, if you don't get the money, you should have had the money. So, you know, what they were calling them janky promoters.
Janky promoter, yeah.
Yeah, they had them kind. So yeah, you had to beware of them kind.
Was it a lot of situations like that? Because it ain't only that you starting early in the label. This is still very early in like hip hop. So it's still like the idea of we doing rap and we moving around, and you know what I'm saying, like when y'all where people was it a hard time accepting like a southern label coming through certain places when y'all went out on the road and shit like that?
Man, just I think not in the Midwest and the South, cause if we got through the South and made it to Cleveland, Cincinnati, Chicago, Milwaukee, Louisville, Kentucky, man, that's like home. Man, the Midwest, I think we sold more records and done more shows in the Midwest than we did in the South.
That's right, because Chicago they were one of the first cities to really gravitate to rap a lot, right?
Oh yeah. And you gotta look at the whole Midwest though. Man, the whole Midwest love the South. I'm talking about you running everybody out in the South that's from the South, 8 Ball, MJG. You're gonna run into all them cats, that 666 Mark, everybody. You're gonna run into all them dudes in the Midwest doing shows together, because the Midwest love Southern artists. The Midwest love it was just like home away from home. When you get to the Midwest, it's like only spot that I can't see a big following in, which we've done a lot of shows there, was like Arkansas. For some reason, because they had this gang banging mentality early. So it was like they couldn't get a lot of stuff going at the time. Then you had, you wouldn't believe, even though San Antonio was right there.
They wasn't fucking with it in San Antonio?
Yeah, they was, but man, have sometime before we even do a show in San Antonio, some of them broke out.
No shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, some will break out before you even get a chance to perform.
What they had going on in San Antonio?
Same thing.
Gang shit.
Yep.
No shit.
But now when you go to Baton Rouge, Georgia, Mississippi, like Jackson, Mississippi was another one of our favorite spots too. Jackson, Mississippi. They was live down there. Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. You know, most of the southern states, kind of Mobile. You know, we just ran all down through there. But you know, just that's why you got regional records and you got national records. You know, and a lot of artists just was regional artists. You know, they couldn't break out the South. That's why when you break out the South and going into the Midwest and then going into Detroit and different places like that, you kind of can say, man, we kind of burning this thing up. But it's just was something about New York. We could never crack New York, but they was buying our music, but we wasn't doing no shows down there.
No shit. I know they got the infamous Ghetto Boy stories, them being booed and then coming back with Mind Playing Tricks. So even after that, it still wasn't like that.
You know, artists like Scarface, Bushwick Bill, them people love Bushwick Bill though, rest in peace. And they love Bushwick. But just some of our other artists, they buying the music, but we wasn't doing no shows. We wasn't doing no bunch of shows on the East Coast. I think Philadelphia, we done quite a few shows in Philly, in DC, you know, Baltimore, in old markets, but just New York, New Jersey, we ain't done.
Did you ever move around with the Convicts or 3-2 or anybody like that?
Oh yeah.
Can you tell me some story? You know, I don't know if you know 3-2 is my cousin, man.
Oh yeah,
so I'm working on a documentary on him right now.
I remember when Jay first started messing with the Convicts, and he was finna do some kind of deal with them, and he sent Big Mike and 3-2 to New York.
Was New York, California?
Detroit. Chicago. California, man. And man, next thing we know, when we heard that really dope Big Baby, we said, man, this man done stole 3 style, and 3 didn't recover from that. If you listen to that Snoop, man, that's 3-2 I'm talking about his whole style.
Yeah. So okay, you say you didn't recover, so y'all could see that, like, man, y'all see that in him, like, man, dude ran off with my shit.
Yeah, but then it'll be like Snoop's, like it'll be like 3 biting, but all the time if you listen at 3,
that's all him.
Yeah, that's all him.
Yeah, we don't love them hoes and all. Yeah.
Come on, man, that's 3-2 all day, man. That's 3-2 all day. Yeah, that was my boy. 3, Big Mello, all them cats, man. When they was youngsters too, though.
Yeah. Is there anything that stands out from Big Mello, from the Big Mello days?
Man, Big Mello was the best hype man I ever saw.
Cause he would go out with Scarface, right? So what would Big Mello? Cause that tripped me out. I saw some footage of him, and they were saying like Big Mello was a hype man for Scarface. So somebody was telling me that or something. But what was Big Mello doing? Like, was he just live on stage?
Yeah. Hey man, if we had footage of Mello as a hype man, not just as an artist, man, the best hype man I ever saw. I ain't saw a hype man better than Big Mello.
Was he doing crowd participation? Like, what made him so live? Like,
man, the energy. You know, most hype men got energy, and the man had the best energy I ever saw for as a hype man. I ain't seen nobody better than Big Mello.
Hmm.
I saw him. I'm talking an interview, and that's when he was still down with Bone Hard Production.
Yeah, early. Yeah.
And that Mello was tough, man.
Speaking of that, man, y'all had so many. It's so much come out of there. Mike Dean. What you remember about Mike Dean, young Mike Dean?
Man, I remember Mike Dean was just an engineer, and Mike Dean was just used to engineer and build, put all the stuff together. And Mike Dean used to stay up. Mike Dean made more money as an engineer than I done seen checks Mike Dean used to come pick up. This dude used to stay up weeks at a time. He'll fall asleep at the board. Because if you got projects, Mike Dean was the engineer on all these projects.
He was go-to engineer. Got you.
Because he was really the only engineer.
No shit.
At the time,
I thought he was just one of the producers on the label. I didn't know he was the head engineer.
Man, Mike Dean ain't started producing till, man, probably 93, 92, somewhere up in there. I think Mike Dean.
So you talking about in the 80s and shit? Mike Dean was over there.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, Mike Dean been there. Mike Dean was the engineer. Mike Dean ain't started putting his fingerprints on production. It might been.
He told me it was a Big Mello Home Clock or some remix or some shit on the.
Yeah, but he might have done his first. One of the first projects he might have got a song on had to be. I can be wrong. Might have been Fifth Ward Juveniles or Fifth Ward Boys or somebody like that.
But he was just I ain't know he was.
Yeah, Mike Dean was just the engineer. Had another little cat up under him named Pee Wee.
So what happened to him?
I don't know what Pee Wee had, but Pee Wee was just like Mike Dean assistant, like do this, do that. But Beto taught Mike Dean what he know.
Okay, can we talk about Beto a little bit? Because, I mean, he was responsible for a lot of that Rap-A-Lot shit, man. Before y'all brought in N.O. Jones and all these other guys.
They don't even mention Beto.
That's why I say I want to talk about
it. Man, Beto was the shit. If you go back and listen to that Rap-A-Lot from the beginning, Jungle Funk, you're going to hear Beto.
Yeah.
John Beto.
Yeah.
And that's who Mike Dean used to sit up under.
So Beto was like the top producer.
Oh yeah.
Then you got your Mike Deans, your N.O. Jones, and Crazy C's, and all these guys.
Mike Dean was not the top producer. Mike Dean is a top producer now, man. You had Beto. You had
Crazy C was over there.
Yeah, Crazy C was over there. But I'm talking about who was in house. You had Beto was in house. You had, Scarface became one of the best producers over there on his own projects. Then N.O. Joe came, and then that dude Seven came. Seven came. Before his in-house producers, them probably some of the in-house producers I can remember, but some of the other Swift.
Big Swift, my boy.
Big Swift. Yeah, Big Swift and got some good projects out over there. Got a chance to put his name on some good projects. I know I'm forgetting somebody through all those years, but those names is some of the main producers at the time. And man, you can't forget about Beto. And I don't think he get enough credit.
I agree.
For that sound, for the Rap-A-Lot sound.
Yeah.
If you look back, Beto, that's why I was
that foundation of what we know is the sound. Yeah, that was him. Yeah,
John Beto, man. And I've talked to him a few times since I've been home, and he got deported. And so that's the only reason you don't hear him. That's why you probably don't even see him. But yeah, Beto was the man over there at Rap-A-Lot, man. Like Mike Dean, he who he is today. But he come up under all of them. Beto,
Reddy Red was over there early.
Oh yeah,
we talk about Reddy Red.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. But Reddy Red was at the
before
time,
Beto, right?
But he was a DJ. Reddy Red was their DJ, but he had some producing skills because they used to, at the time, that's when Jay had the car lot on Shepherd, and the studio was on top of the car lot. So it wasn't no big studio or nothing at the time. You didn't need all the stuff that you needed as time went on. But you know, they Beto and Ready Red. If you go look at those Grip It albums and those albums that we refer, you're gonna see John Beto and Ready Red, and you ain't gonna see it. It was another white boy too, man.
That was partners with y'all early on.
Well, that's Cliff. I'm talking about the producer.
Cliff.
Can't think his name, but he was a little white cat, man. I ain't heard his name in so long.
Damo?
No,
Damo was a DJ.
Yeah, Damo
but he
was
produced
the DJ.
too, though.
Well, down the road.
Later on, yeah.
You know, down the road, all of them learned to produce down the road. Damo, 007, E-Rock. You know, all of them learned to produce down the road, but it was another little white cat. I can't think his name. But I remember him being in the studio all the time back then. But, yeah, all them cats, it was a lot of moving parts that played a part in Rap-A-Lot being, stayed the #1 independent label for, and I know over 5-6 years for sure.
Yeah. Can you tell me how instrumental, because we always hear about it, how Jay really played that role in your Suge Knights and your Herb Gotti's, and how he really was the one to serve as like y'all got, you know, everybody came to get the game from y'all, you know what I'm saying, for as the independent side of things, independent label wise, like.
Because that was the key. Man, it ain't for us, it's for everybody. So, you know, all of them used to come and just sit in the studio or go in the office, and if they man, teach them what you know. And that's just like if you look at any of them independent labels, they took our street promotion game and made people recognize who they was. It was the street promotions, you know, cause at the time radio, they just wasn't showing a bunch of love to independent labels off the bat. So you'll go to the streets with your music. So you know they start seeing how we move, how we mob, how we everywhere we went. You know, and we didn't have to make clubs play our music. It was just we had good music, and then they've seen how we moved. So that's why they used to come and Jay give them that part of the game for us, how to structure their label, what to do, what not to do, how to structure their deals. And then they'll come through the office and see how the office set up. And then they'll go out. Certain people, say for instance, you work certain part of a label, man, go out tonight, Spook, take them out with you. And we'll take them out.
Y'all was really giving them the game for real.
Yeah. That's the only way you're going to get it. You weren't going to get it no other way, because we had to get ours the hard way. We ain't had nobody to give it to us. So we just figured it out. You know, we just figured, you know, go to the streets. Just keep putting it in the street, putting it in their face, and you know, and that's the only way other labels, like even when I remember the first time I ever met P, I think we was at a BRE convention in New Orleans, and they was moving, and next thing I know, he ended up in the office with Jay. Yeah, and that's how I met them. We done the same thing with them, done the same thing with Cash Money, done the same thing with all them cats. And you got to show them, because people ain't gonna, man, everybody was just about the money back then. I'm talking about, you had everybody had their hands out, and really they play words games with people. You know, they'll tell you, I can get the record played. And you look at SoundScan, and you look, hey man, I give you $15,000. You got my record played one time. Man, I said I can get it played.
Yeah.
You know, they done what they said.
Yeah,
They say out in them word games versus, man, I ain't tell you I was gonna break the record for no $15,000. So that's just how them radio people was, man. They were playing all kind of word games.
I was just gonna ask you about that because you kind of said like we wasn't really interested in radio.
What
radio really giving y'all a time like that, like a hard time with trying to get it?
They was giving everybody a hard time. Radio was back then. Radio, if you didn't have a hit record or you wasn't paying them like they wanted, you wasn't gonna get no record played. That's why we grind. We was street grinding. We grinded out in them streets and got our money. You know, we were like, we ain't gonna let no suckers hold no noose around our neck to try to get nothing played when. You know, and that's just how we looked at things. Then we start hiring radio personnel, you know, dudes in house that this your job to get
work the record.
Yeah, with their job. You know, once we start focusing on radio, and then, you know, a lot of time those cats, you know, they traveling around the country going to these stations, and you look at their invoices, man, you done spent $35,000. And ain't getting nothing done. So it was the same staying in suites when I'm living and I'm staying in a motel, you living in a suite. And so it was like, you know, the game was real crafty back then. It was like, man, you had to really pay attention and be on your note. You know, you'll be spending a lot of money and ain't getting nothing done. And, you know, that was Jay's biggest thing, man. He gonna ask if I spend this money, how I'm gonna make it back. And so that was we start once we start seeing that was the motto. Man, don't spend no money if we ain't getting and ain't gonna get no results out of it. So that's why the markets I would choose. If I had 21 markets, I'm gonna look at SoundScan and I'm gonna look at the hottest markets, and I'm gonna focus on them markets because it's already fire there. And once I get fired out, I'm gonna see where I got some smoke at. And I'm gonna go where the smoke at and try to start some fire where the smoke at. But I ain't going to Omaha, Nebraska. There ain't nothing going on in there. Well, let's go to Omaha, Nebraska.
It's a waste.
Man, I'm not. So it was that's just how I looked at it, as wherever some fire at, that's where I kind of focused on where the fire at. And, you know, back then you had a lot of them, you know, them video shows, local video shows. So I kind of focused on a lot of local video shows too. All the local video shows, now they had them underground, them pirate stations. You know, I focused on the pirate radio stations, anything that was underground, anything focused to the streets. And then, but as time went on, I just built relationships with dudes in radio. And then, you know, I run into them, man, I put it in the mix show. You know, and they start a lot of records in the mix show. And that's why we got a lot of love out of the mix shows. And then you get a lot of requests from the mix show. So when you see you get a lot of requests, then they'll start playing it on the overnight. Then you look up, they playing it they'll ease the record in. Cause some records, you know, you can't deny. Some records just good records. So, and that's what I used to like about the mixers. The mixers, they like to play what they like to play back then. So the mixers was some good cats, but the mainstream radio cats, and some of them dudes, they was just some arrogant dudes, man. And you know, they were just real arrogant. Feel like, you know, they had a stronghold over the game. And I look at artists today, it's like reason why people be asking, man, why you don't mess with the music no more? I don't like the way the system is. You know, I don't like what artists have to go through to try to get somewhere, and it's harder now than it was then, and it take them more to do what they gotta do now than it did. Then you got all these dudes, you know, taking artists' money and how much you gonna put them on the showcase, and we gonna do this and we gonna do that, and at the end of the night, the last artist who performing by herself. Cause most of the other artists is gone. You know, so that's another part of the game that, you know, I look at and I be like, that ain't cool. You know, you got underground artists. These people done put all their creativity into their music, and you charging them to perform. They ain't nobody. They ain't nobody. So what you think they gonna get out of that? Versus what we used to do. If you're a local artist, we'll let you open up for a big act and for free and tap into his fan base if I call myself helping you. If I call myself helping you, man, let that man open up for them. My thing, I used to tell them, man, you better burn that stage up. If you trying to tap into them people crowd, don't get up there faking. Put your best music first. You know, and that's the only thing I tell all, quit saving your best song for last.
You only got one time to make that first impression, man.
Put your best music first, and that what a lot of them used to do. Try to put their best music last. And then once I hear one or two songs, oh, he ain't working with nothing. Then all the time you got your hit record last. So that's just my thing with a lot of these cats, the way they do artists. I just don't like how they do artists, and I can't. And it ain't on me to knock your hustle. You know, it ain't on me to knock your hustle. That's your hustle. If you hustling, that's your hustle. Then I ain't finna be sitting, man, y'all wrong and y'all. That's the game now.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the nature of the game. So I just can't see myself doing and try to get me to do it at fifth level all the time. I'll be like, man, I don't do showcases. You know, if you want to bring an artist in here and let them perform and let them open up for them, cool. But I ain't finna charge nobody to come in here to do no showcase, be charging artists to, cause where the fans at?
Right.
You know, ain't no fans in here, so who they performing for? You bringing 10 people, he got 4, 5 people, he got left. When you perform, your people gone with you. You know, and people gonna show love on the strength, but they acting like it's really a competition when it's not.
Yeah.
You know, you really trying, and you look around in the room, ain't nobody really in that room to help them people.
Yeah, it'd be money grabs.
Oh yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's their hustle, but you know, that's why I ain't really even thought about fooling with the music since I've been home. I kind of went out to the takeover a few times after I got in to kind of see how things were still going, to see how music is still being produced, and see which direction the music industry is going in. Learned what I need to learn and peeped and synced everything I needed to see, and then I was like, nah, I ain't ready for that yet. I just created me a lane. You know, I said, man, I'm gonna create my own lane right now and get in me a lane and do things that I need to get done. And then if I want to double back that ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. The music industry gonna always be there. So, you know, it's still there. And if I ever decide to fool with it again, I still get a lot of DMs and a lot of calls and a lot of OG.
Still trying to pull you back in.
Yeah, OG, when you gonna? OG, I thought you was. You know, the day gonna come though. I already know it, cause it's what I love. Cause if I ain't love it, I still wouldn't be around it. I still wouldn't deal with it. But it's just the way it's going. It's just the way it look. You know, the lyrical contents, the way youngsters is. You know, and the way they talk, the way they act. It's like it ain't no I can't take these people on the, say for instance, I take them on the road and something happened to them off of what they did.
Right.
You know, not off of what somebody caused, but half the time, you know, you got youngsters who feel like ain't nobody never been there for them, so why I'ma listen at somebody? Cause I sit and talk with a lot of youngsters, and you know, and they come from an era of people ain't really showed them love. So they don't know what love look like. They don't know what respect look like. So that's why when dudes be like, man, why you? I'm like, they need some guidance. They ain't gonna listen at you cause what you doing. You ain't showing them nothing different for them to say, man, I'll listen at you because you doing what he doing. Youngsters don't run with youngsters. Old cats run with youngsters now. The role done been reversed. So when I see old cats running with youngsters versus youngsters running with old cats, I know what that is. You using them because your nut bag ain't hanging no more.
Yeah.
So you watching them just to feed off them and not telling them when they wrong
Letting
or
them
not.
crash out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I see it. I be seeing it,
Yeah.
and that be my thing with youngsters when and they come sit and talk with me and they be like, man, you ain't been home but whoop, and you came home, man, and you doing this and you doing that, and that's what they want to see. They want to see you doing something that would inspire them to want to do right. But if you ain't doing nothing right, man, they ain't. And I blame and I be a lot of times I blame myself for their condition.
Why you say that?
Because I look at it like if I was home, because I went done 17 years.
We was gonna get to that, but yeah, go ahead.
I let my past interfere with my future. And half the time, if I would have been home and all the youngsters that was around us, they looked it up to certain individuals. So when people stop showing them love and showing them what it is, what they supposed to do.
Yeah.
Cause I look at a lot of them youngsters, man. I look at the crack era. You had the crack baby. Then you got the crack baby. Who got the most love out of that generation? Ain't no love there. And that's a cold thing, man, when you looking at, you got a crack baby that didn't get no love and don't
even know nothing about it.
Yeah, and then respect and discipline and obedience, morals, loyal, principles, and then you got a crack baby. He worse than the crack baby. So they don't have when you talking about loyalty. I'm down with the loyalty, but man, love go a long way. Dude rather talking about I'd rather have loyalty than love, but then that's the only savior of the world. Come on, man, love the only savior of the world. You can
They go back to, like you say, that circle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Unending love.
Unending love. Yeah.
You can't get around it, man. You can't get around and I ain't talking about emotionally type. I ain't talking about that type of love. I'm talking about when I can look at you and know what you is as a man and respect you as a man. And people think when you say love, you on some
soft shit.
Oh,
Nah.
You talking about, you looking at what God created. You looking at everything God created and how you can mess over that. So, when you talking about love, that's the type of love that we be on. We ain't on no when you talking about how you feel for a female, you got to give her the same type of love too, because if she ain't your female, because you want her to be treated just like you want your mother to be treated or your sister to be treated, and so that's just the growth. That's part of the growth, man, when you can grow out of something and grow into something and move as a unit and not worry about something getting in. You can't, and that's the unit, man. You got to kind of, and I'm telling you, that's why I tell people I let my past interfere with my future. Because my past was behind me.
At the time when you got...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, can you tell me about this whole thing? Because even with the guys involved, like Jay's talked to me about these officers and the type of shit they was on and how, you ended up getting caught up in whatever they was trying to put together,
Yeah, in the night that I got knocked off. Me and Jay sitting in my office. give me a check that I had been laying on his desk for about a couple of weeks. So he came in my office, give me the check. He said, man, they got a J. Prince rap-a-lot task force in town. Whatever you got on your mind, get it off of. Quit riding with them guns, quit doing this, say them people in town. But what had happened, probably 7-8 months, this individual started calling me, man, what's up with this? Man, put me down with this. Man, so I'm started brushing these people. But all the time, it's the feds. All the time, it was the feds, and I bit the
Did you know
apple.
the cat who was calling you? Or this
Yeah, but
they working through, he working for them. Yeah, got you.
But they out of New Orleans, cause there was a place we used to do shows at called the $1 Million Spot. We run all our promotional tours through there. And I had no idea these people had been busted by the feds.
People in New Orleans.
Yeah. And the night of, I'm sitting at the Hippie House studio on the hood of my car. And I'm talking about I done shook them that night. I done changed my mind. So they started, man, what you gonna do, man? We already got the money. All you gotta do, we got the key. I'll go in the room, get the bag. So I called Steve, and me and Steve get in the car together. We called 2 more little cats and had them to go get to the room for me, and I'm watching them. But all the time when I'm driving, I tell Steve, I say, man, this something ain't right about this. I said, man, I'm telling you, man, I don't feel right about this. I'm telling you just had that feeling. And Steve said, man.
This after Jay just told you, man, these people.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, that's why I'm telling you. That's how somebody can be your angel. And you ignore the sign. That man was my angel that night, and I ain't listened at it. I ignored it. I ignored the sign. Then I got another sign. Something was in my ear saying, man, get off the freeway. Something ain't right. And
but they following behind you? What was it? Okay.
But I ain't know that. Them people have been following me all day.
No shit.
And some telling me, get off the freeway. So I mentioned it to Steve. Steve was like, man, everything easy for us. I said, you sure right. Went on. Went right and rolled right into a trap.
So walk me through that. What ends up happening?
Man,
they end up pulling you over?
No, I'm sitting up watching
the play go through.
Yeah, I'm sitting up, me and them sitting up watching. I done parked, and I watched them get the key, go in the room, come out the room. I see the law swoop down on them, and at the same time they swoop down on us. But the whole thing is how everybody end up getting off but me. I tell them, I said, man, if y'all don't say nothing, y'all going home. And 2 got acquitted in their trial. Steve got granted a new trial, and I'm the only one. I was a lone conspirator on a conspiracy by myself.
How they end up doing you like that?
Because a dismissal and acquittal is not the same. See, they acquitted my two of my co-defendants 2 days into their trial. The judge was like, this ain't no conspiracy. They came in the conspiracy, and the night of, y'all didn't prove to me they know what Mr. Russell know. That she done the same thing when me and Steve got found guilty. She said, she told, in the day we was found guilty, she told the prosecutor, y'all didn't prove to me Mr. McCarter know what Mr. Russell know. I'm going to grant you, Mr. Carter, a new trial, but you, Mr. Russell, I ain't going to grant you a new trial because I think you knew something, you just didn't tell it. She said Mr. McCarter came into this conspiracy the night of.
Mr. McCarter, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they was what they wanted. The only reason my other 2 co-defendants got acquitted, them people had a cooler with a tracking device in it with some money and some bricks in it. If they would have opened it, then they would have knew what was in it. But when they asked them what was in it, man, beer and wine was normally in a cooler. She thought was this was some type of big drug deal, but she said, man, this ain't nothing but a theft of a person. Y'all made me think Mr. Russell was going out and robbing some big time drug dealers. Y'all set the man up to steal $250,000 and some cocaine that y'all put in a cooler. Yeah, that's what that case was about. She said y'all was hoping that he took that cooler back to Rap-A-Lot Records and it didn't work. And how y'all playing? The lady was mad at the prosecutor and them agents for what they did, cause the whole thing was she says was y'all plot, y'all dope, y'all scheme. All Mr. Russell had to do was show up, but y'all thought y'all were finna take down that record company, but it didn't work as y'all planned. She said, but I ain't granting you no new trial, Mr. Russell. I think you knew something, you just didn't tell it. That's how everybody went home, cause Jack Schumacher, that sucker Chad Scott who in the feds now, all them the same people.
From being, yeah.
Yep. I'm telling you, I had all.
Why were they targeting y'all like that though?
Because when you got a bunch of brothers, man, that they've been watching for years.
They done seen y'all transition from the streets to the.
And then you got a label of street cats that's getting dudes from the street jobs. They'd rather see you in the streets hustling or dead than working. When you look at Rap-A-Lot, man, everybody at Rap-A-Lot was from the streets besides the accountant and probably one of the marketing promotion director, people like that. But anybody that was upstairs in the business office in that part, when you came to radio, college radio, retail, street promotions, any of that, everybody was from the streets. But on the people that wasn't from the streets was the accountants. And I think we had marketing promotion director. She probably wasn't from the streets, and then you had a couple of radio cats that was over urban radio, like we had dude Mel Smith, Leslie White, different cats like that. They wasn't from the streets, but they was from the streets. They just wasn't from the streets, and that's why, man. And then that's just like when them people found out it was something happened in New Orleans. We done a Ghetto Boys album release party. And it was a big old brawl in that club. And they made us be responsible for it. And one of the agents that they had on the team ended up getting whooped that night. So that's how they get on my line. So they was like, well, I asked them who was that from Rap-A-Lot, and my name come up, and then they shot back to Houston, I said, man, we've been chasing him since '85. So my name come up from some old stuff. And that's how they put me back on, put us back online. But they ain't gonna stop. They ain't gonna never stop, because they just think that dudes, we from some street dudes that, we don't belong in the position that we're in. We don't deserve to be on the street. We don't deserve to live the life that we was living. And I look at it like, man, everybody have a past, everybody got a history. Then you pay your debt to society, and you still got to go through what you go through, because that's just, I just look at the mentality of the system. There ain't no second chances. They ain't really giving you no second chance. They just hoping you get out here and mess up again, because they ain't providing no opportunities for nobody. You got to make your own opportunity. The little stuff that they giving out to brothers that get out of prison, man, and that's what make brothers end up going back, because what they offering besides what Rap-A-Lot was offering brothers. A good paying job. They say but when you look at an application, it has, have you ever been convicted of a felony? You know, certain ones ain't gonna hire you, but then you can't find no housing because it's the same way. You know, where you gonna live at? You on the application, have you ever been convicted of a felony? So it's all these things against you. But then when you got labels like Cash Money, Rap a Lot, uh, uh, Suave House, Master P and them Brothers Herb got Murder Inc. and Death Row, and you know, you had all these labels hiring ex-felons. And look how that worked.
Yeah.
Look how that worked for them. Them people didn't like that. That's why tell me an independent label today. You got rid of all that.
On the street level, yeah. Nah.
Yeah, he got rid of that, man. They ain't letting brothers have that. They ain't gonna have no more. Brothers ate too good. And they couldn't stand to see brothers that they looked at as undesirables. You know, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see a bunch of brothers that come from the street building something on that magnitude, man. You know, multi-million-dollar companies, and all the things they hiring is ex-felons. You ain't gonna hire them. You know, and so that was their biggest thing. And you know, you'll never see that again. You'll never see brothers with independent labels hiring brothers when they come out of prison and teaching them, you know, how to eat off this music industry. You don't see it. You don't see it no more. You see dudes still eating, but they ain't eating like they used to eat. Not on the flip side. Now you got artists and management, but there was so many components that you ate off of. I'm talking about you can start your street promotion company like it wasn't nothing. You can start your record pool. You can start your video show. The people paid for all that kind of stuff, especially record pools. I've had dudes on my record pool that each pool I may gave $300 a month. And just think how many labels doing that. You know, you got 14, 15 labels giving you $300 a month. And the only thing you doing is you got 25, 30 dudes in your pool that you shipping the records to. You know, and that's all the record pool. And then if you was in my pool, I'd tell you, let your pool listen at the hot club wax and which record worked for the club, because that's what you sent to the record pools. You know, most of the hot club wax and stuff like that. And, you know, they'll have like the little meeting and, you know, listen at it. Okay, they'll call back, man, we think so-and-so was the best record. But I think one of our biggest records we slept on was PWA.
That y'all slept on? Like when it came out, y'all didn't think it was going to be what it came out to be? No shit?
Nope. Man, I think we put out, might have been Situations.
It was a single before that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it might have been Situations. One of them records, man, but it wasn't PWA. Wasn't the first record. We chased that record. By the time we chased it, it was.
Yeah, it went off and y'all hadn't done the video, the uncut video.
Yeah, but we chased the record. Yeah. But once you chase, it's difficult chasing a record. You know, you 6 weeks behind, cause most time that's about how long it take you to get the clean version of the record, get your video shot, get your mail outs out. You know, and you behind on this record, so. You know, and that's one record that we didn't even have a clean version to it when we first shot it. We didn't see that record still being played in the club today.
Today, I'm a DJ. Yeah. I still today, if I play that, it's gonna be the same reaction probably when it first came out. You know what I mean?
And you got youngsters don't even know that record that old.
Yeah, and that record over 25 years.
Man, they don't know that record older than them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that record older than them, man.
Is there artists on the label that you wish, like, man, I really wish this artist would have popped a little bit more?
Man, Devin the dude, and he's still doing. Cause Devin, man, he was a diligent brother. You know, Devin was a diligent brother. And he's still putting in a lot of work. Most of the artists, but the artists that I'm looking at, I think all of them had a fair chance. I think Fifth Ward Boys. I put in so much work with them. I don't look at them like they didn't make it. Even though they didn't get the prestige,
The ghetto boy or the
yeah, they didn't get the status that they wanted. But I look at them like, man, they done a lot for the industry that people don't give them credit for.
What's one thing you would say they did that they don't get the credit for?
Just they drive. The projects that they put out. If you go back listen at their projects, man, them dudes
Classics, man.
Yeah, man, them dudes got some of the best projects you want to listen at. So I don't think people really know what they actually brought to the game, but artists do.
Do you think it was because they came behind the Ghetto Boys as another 3-man group? And it was kind of like, even though they weren't the same, it's like, here's another 3-man group coming from the same label. Do you think that kind of played a part into it?
Man, it's a lot of timing. I think it's timing and everything. And it was like a lot of timing. Had a lot to me to do with the Fifth Ward Boys. It was timing. I don't think it was just because if you listen at their records and their projects, they never came out when the Ghetto Boys came out. They didn't come out simultaneously with them, or they got a record. Then we didn't do them. They'll come. The smaller acts came out like months apart or 2 months apart, but I think it was just timing with the Fifth Ward Boys. I don't think it was nothing that we did wrong. But I'm telling you, the one record that I think we chased, it could have probably put them where they should have been with that PWA. If we would have looked at that record could be in a single. We didn't look at that record could be a single, but when we seen people cleaning it up and playing it themselves,
then y'all tried to jump on it.
Yeah, because people cleaning that record up, playing it themselves. But other than that, that's why I wouldn't say that I wouldn't want to, if I would see an artist pop, it would be them, because I think they done their thing. They just didn't get the status.
Most definitely. Yeah.
But Devin, if you listen to Devin, man, that's one of the most creative little dudes. Man, Devin real creative, man. And I used to love to go on the road with Devin.
Yeah.
But that's when I remember I had to go with him and Gangsta Nip. That's when him, Nip, and all them used to travel together. That was their little show. People used to, if they wanted Devin, they'll want Nip. If they wanted Nip,
no shit, I would have never put them two together like that.
Hey man, they're at their own fan base. If you listen at Devin had weed smokers and seemed like weirdos, even back then. And Nip, he just had gothic type people. Cause if you listen at his music, he been talking crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So them two them two kind of was a blend.
It's just gonna be the odd crowd. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They just had they blending, but 3 and 3-2 used to travel with that little group.
By himself or with the Black Monks?
Yeah, I would say with the Black Monks. When he got in the Black Monks, but once 3 and Big Mike wasn't no longer with the Convicts, that kind of set 3 back a little bit. Because I don't think we ever got but one project out.
He did one
3-2.
solo album, and then 2 Black Monks albums. Yeah, that was kind of.
I think we kind of ain't get but one project out on 3-2.
Yeah, and Big Mike, I mean, they split. Big Mike go join the Ghetto Boys. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like.
And then when he done his thing.
Yeah, it was a rap. Yeah. Big Mike one of the hardest, man.
Oh yeah.
Big Mike is one of the hardest, bro.
He another that cause Big Mike got a gold plaque. I think he got a gold or platinum plaque, something like that. But he done his thing too. So that's what I'm telling you. The artist that was with that was Devin, and I don't know why out of all the years Fifth Ward Boys project ain't went gold yet. When that PWA.
Wait, that Unusual Suspect still ain't went gold?
I don't know. We ain't got no plaque.
No shit.
We ain't got no plaque. But I'm thinking that project.
That should have been platinum, really. But I mean, gold at the least.
Yep. But every time they came out, they sold 300-something thousand copies or better. And we looked at that. That's ghetto gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and we had a bunch of ghetto gold orders. You know what I'm saying? If you sold 150, 200,000, man, that's ghetto gold. Cause you gotta add them numbers up.
Yeah, no, yeah, money wise, yeah, you looking
Oh
good.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
looking
you
good.
you add them numbers up, man. Cause them some good numbers when you got every orders that you drop. You know, and that's how kind of how Rap-A-Lot done their numbers. They added the numbers up. You know, and you might have 300 here, 200 there, 400 here, 300. At the end of the day,
You look up, you just sold 5-10 million records. Yeah.
yep, and 1 million, one platinum plat gonna get you $18 million back then.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
See, that's that era, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I'm talking about you. Talking about people. You talking about selling music in the street. People still. You had to buy the tape. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You had to buy the album. Like
Physically have this in your hand, you know, and a lot of times, man, people want you to sign it, you know, for memorabilia. It's like now ain't nothing physical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything in the air, and that's like when I seen people talking about how many streams you have to get $10,000.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I said, oh no, that don't make no sense to me. And you got artists don't even know about publishing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they ain't getting no publishing and don't know nothing about no royalties. They just on some streaming. I'm like, man, they ain't on no ASCAP money. I'm like, how many pieces of money artists is leaving on the table?
Mm-hmm.
Man, they leaving a lot of money on the table.
Well, you know that merch game really where it's at right now. Too.
Yeah.
A lot of people they racking up on that merch, but
still,
you still supposed to have this other money though.
come
You
on,
need
man.
your royalties and your
Yeah.
publishing and your
You got to
BMI
get
ASCAP,
that
whatever.
money, man. You can't leave that money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
You that's all of this you done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how you wrote it. You typed it or wrote it. Whichever one you did, that's yours. Somebody getting paid off of it. Somebody getting that money.
Oh yeah.
They ain't leaving that money out there. They just ain't telling you about it. You know, and a lot of times they ain't, they ain't lacing them artists up when, if they come to sit down and talk to me, I'm going to tell them what they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times they still getting played on today, man. And, and that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the nature of the business. And I look at some of the labels today and some of the cats today that are exposing a lot of stuff. And a lot of artists, they not taking heed to that stuff. They not going to do their research. You know, they just happy with what they get, and then down the road, say somebody messed over.
Look up after the money done dried up. Right now, money done dried up, and
you done messed over me. Nah,
you
man,
wasn't on top of your game.
Yeah, you got to be on top of your game, man, and it's too much information out there now. And like when we first started, we all had got a book called Introduction to the Music Industry.
Oh, Jay gave y'all books and shit?
Yeah, we had to read that book.
It's live as hell. How much older is Jay than you?
He not older than me.
No shit?
I'm a year older than Jay.
No shit. This is what trick, because you said, man, I was 22 at the time. Yeah, so you talking about Jay Prince, 21, whatever.
Yeah.
Passing out. It just trips me out that his mind was even on this type of shit.
Oh, yeah. Man, that man had a 1930-something car back then. I'm talking when we was in high school. The man had an old Al Capone looking car, about a 1930-something.
In high school?
Yeah. Yeah, in high school, we had new cars. He had an old car. He drove a 1930-something when he was going to Cashmere. So the man been
on top of his.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for his vision of wanting to see things farther. You know, most of us when we're in the streets, we just seeing for right now. But the only reason I had businesses when I was at a young age because I was raised around people. My grandfather, I ain't never seen them work for nobody when we was in Fifth Ward. And when I graduated from high school, it was like, you know how your parents want you to go to college? And my grandfather said, why you bothering the boys to go to college? I'd have taught them everything they need to know to survive in this world. So that's why I never chose school over business. But my business, I just always deal with cash money businesses.
But even in the streets, how early did you start like getting into all that type of stuff?
Probably about 13, 12, 13
Oh
years
shit.
old. Probably about 12, 13 years old. Cause when I got that from, man, when me and my brother, when we was young, we used to ride the bus.
It's an older brother?
Yeah, I'm the youngest
Gotcha.
of five. And we used to ride the bus. And we get on the bus, man, we used to ride the bus way out by the Galleria. And the bus come all the way back. We just seeing how other people live. And we was like, man, why people living the way they living and we living the way we living? And that just inspired us to want more out of life. So it was, man, when I was a little bitty boy, I used to go up by the freeway and this lady, first time I ever sold newspapers, this lady took us to sell newspapers. And I sold all the lady newspapers and rode the bus back home. And that same weekend, I got my bike and went in them paper machine, took out all the papers, strapped them on my bike, went up by the freeway, started selling my own papers. So I ain't selling them lady papers when I could sell paper, do what she doing.
No shit.
Yeah, I done that for a little till my mama called me. My sister and them ratted me out. We go up there by that freeway, car gonna run over me. I think I couldn't have been no more than 7, 8 years old.
Oh, you was a child.
Yeah, I was a child about to gonna get ran over. So that's why the old lady rode down there, and the old lady had an old station wagon back then, and I seen it kind of was lopsided.
She so coming up the block for you.
Man, I seen it. I already knew what it was. Yeah, man. I'm talking about whoop me all the way to the house. Yeah, man.
I got a whipping like that one time. Not that far, but I was talking shit to my mama one time, playing basketball there, and got late, and she whooped my ass all the way down.
You know, and I was talking about, well, you up here selling papers, done got ran over, somebody done snatched you, and man, I ain't thought nothing about getting ran over.
You think about I'm finna get some money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I always have. So I remember when you sell candy for school, she say, you can sell some candy, your black ass better not touch them people candy. You better not touch them people candy, because I wasn't going to turn the money in. I wasn't going to turn that money in. Then the following year, you don't turn the money in, your mama got to pay for the books. And you don't get your books unless you pay for the candy. So she would not let me touch them people candy.
She already knew.
Oh, yeah, he ain't going to turn that money in.
That's funny as hell. Well, man, you got anything before we close out, man?
Man, yeah, it's just this program, man. I'm finna get started. It's for kids with incarcerated parents, and I just want to deal with kids to try to see what they going through with their parents incarcerated and see how we can help them. Because, like I say, mine went through something when I was gone, and but by me being gone, we still kind of stayed close. But it's other kids, man, that's going through something, and I just think that there's some things that young males and young females need to be taught since their parents is in prison. And and I just want to, like at the restaurant one day, teach some basic cooking skills. Then we got a shop, teach young males how to, you change a flat, change some oil, put a battery in a car. You even got one of my Mo brothers, he teach how to build websites. Teach them how to build, just teach them some things and kind of let them see that, man, just because your parents is gone, it's still some hope. Because sometimes, kids will lose hope when ain't nobody there for them. And I just think that, that's what we got to start paying more attention to the youth, because, like I say, man, you got to get at the young and the yet unborn, because some of us older cats, man, we sit in our ways. Some people just ain't gonna change, so we got to get at help the ones that looking for change, that want to change and want to do better in their life. And some of them kids, they out there, they just don't have nowhere to go and nobody to look up to that's gonna help them get what they trying to get. So, that's my next focus and my next business. That's what my next business I want to do.
That's hella important, man. Like you say, that's definitely something needed, man. Like,
yeah,
for real.
Yeah, it's needed.
Yeah. Well, man, you want to get your social media and all that, or you don't get too?
Russell5bay@gmail.com.
Already, and the restaurant.
Fifth Level Restaurant and Cafe, 3809 Market Street. We go live every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We just started old school R&B night, blues, Zydeco. Might put a little country western in there, but basically, it's just for the old schools on Thursday night that want to come back and just kick back and, enjoy themselves as usual.
That's what it is, man. I appreciate you coming through, man.
Oh, come on, man. It's an honor and a privilege.
Man, likewise, man. Likewise. Hey, it's Donnie Houston Podcast, OG Spook. Hey, man, we're up out of here.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Donnie Houston. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.